My father was diagnosed with cancer when I got back from my tour of Afghanistan. So immediately I looked to see which was the regiment closest to home. And I think where my problem started is my father died just as I arrived at that regiment. And so I wanted to do the commando course in his name. So when I failed that commando course, when I hurt myself and injured myself, which ended up me being medically discharged, that was always hanging over me to start with. Then being in such a frontline sort of regiment, you know, its whole impetus is on being the toughest, being there first. And then for a person who could no longer do all that sort of stuff, but had no injury that you can see, you know, I hadn't lost a limb, I hadn't broken bones. If you looked at me in a picture, I was a normal guy. But physically not being able to do that stuff anymore, that added to the weight on my shoulders. And then the pain got worse. And they did tell me that the more depressed you get, the more the pain starts to hurt, so you get stuck in that vicious cycle. And then I needed more and more meds just to function. Yeah, I used to be known as the most chilled out guy in NATO. I was a very relaxed officer in everything I did, but that changed. And my poor partner, she got the brunt of it. And it just kept on getting worse, and eventually I changed regiment, and that's when my sort of darkest point came, I suppose. Too many questions at once, high-pitched noises. It was like an explosion had gone off, and you get that ringing in your ears, but that ringing hurts. It's not just there, it's just debilitating. And you shrink inside yourself, and you just see no way out. Yeah. When I got to the worst point, and I've never admitted this to anybody, but even when you start thinking about taking your own life to end it, just to make a stop. But you realise if you do that, you're just hurting other people, not just yourself. You know, and thankfully I was compos mentis enough to realise that, I guess. And if I knew there was someone I could talk to at that point, that would have really helped. But again, we come back to that stigma of, especially military personnel, just not wanting to talk. So with some professional help, then, you know, maybe I wouldn't have got so low if I'd gone sooner, if I'd found help sooner. I was one of the lucky people, and there are so many who aren't so lucky.